sit down to relax and watch television. ESPN comes on and you watch your favorite team's big highlights. Big hits, aggressive dunks, and long ball after long ball. As exciting as those highlights are, how do you think the person that throws that misplaced pitch feels? Being a professional pitcher puts all eyes on you, and with today's on-screen pitch locator, the whole nation can see the mistakes that just made. Pitching is an art form to me and a one-on-one battle between the pitcher and the opposing batter. It is a position that requires great skill and precision. Today I'm here to educate you on the art of pitching, starting with the history of pitching, the three classification of pitches, and the most recognized pitchers in baseball. Baseball started as cricket and had little to no recognition as America's greatest pastime until the 1960s. Aided by the war, baseball began to take off and take shape. As stated in Baseball History in the United States by Wikipedia, New York style of baseball expanded into a national game. Its first governing body, the National Association of Baseball Players, was formed. The NABBP soon expanded into a true national organization, although most of the strongest clubs remained those based in the northern and eastern part of the country. In its 12-year history as an amateur league, the Brooklyn Athletics won 7 championships, establishing themselves as the first true dynasty of the sport. As time went on, the game began to change, and so did the rules. Before, in the game of cricket, the object was to throw the ball at the bat, not to strike out the opposing team. As time changed, it became more of a hitter's game in every ballpark. They took the furthest fences and moved them closer to the infield, and also changed what the ball was made out of, and the dimensions, allowing it to fly further and longer. This made the position of pitcher even more difficult, allowing more home runs and increasing the ERA, or earned run average, of each pitcher. Finally, pitchers began to dominate during the 1960s and 70s, developing such pitches as the 4- and 2-seam fastball, the curveball, the slider, several variations of changeups, and other such pitches. Pitchers began to stand out as leaders of the team, and defense became just as important as the big swing bat. Again stated in baseball history in the United States, balance between pitching and hitting had swung in favor of the pitchers. In 1968, Carl Yastrzemski won the American League batting title with an average of 301, the lowest in history. That same year, Detroit Tigers pitcher Denny McLain won 31 games, making him the last pitcher to win 30 games in a season. And St. Louis Cardinals starting pitcher Bob Gibson achieved the equally remarkable feat of allowing an ERA of 1.12. In response to this, again, the league pushed to help the hitters by lowering the pitching mound and decreasing the size of the strike zone. This was done to increase scoring and bring up attendance in ballparks. This wasn't exactly fair from the pitcher's perspective. To battle back, pitchers began to create new ways to hold and throw pitches that were varying velocity and movement. These 3 types of pitches can be classified as fastballs, breaking balls, and changeups. As stated in Baseball Pitches Illustrated by Lokesh Shikar, fastballs are classified as 5 different types of pitches: 4-seam, 2-seam, cutter, splitter, and forkball. An example of a 4-seam fastball, it's the pitch that holds like the greatest, throw with the greatest velocity, compared to the 2-seam fastball, which both your fingers will be across these seams. While the greatest velocity, while the cutter, splitter, and forkball have a slower velocity and much greater movement, making it harder for the batter to react to things. The greatest tool a pitcher has is his fastball, and of course his breaking ball. The breaking ball, or off-speed pitch, is one that breaks equal to the hit because of its movement. Again, Lokesh Shikar tells us breaking balls come in 4 different types: curve, slider, slurve, which is a mixture between a curve and a slider, and a screwball. The velocity of these pitches are greatly slowed from the fastball, and mixed right or make it hard to tell what's coming. The last of the pitch types is the changeup. This pitch is difficult to tell apart from a fastball depending on the arm angle and how it's released. It makes it extremely difficult for the batter to read the pitch and be able to react to the slowing and speed. A changeup is classified in a couple different ways. It's either a changeup, a palm ball, or thrown as a circle change. So out of the 3 different types of pitches comes 12 different types of ways to throw a baseball. This made the task of batting much harder for the hitter and made him be on his toes all the time. This is an example of the 12 different types of pitches. The only pitch that's not included would be the knuckleball and the knuckle curve, because it has no projected or determined area, like the way it moves. These all pitches are all from a right-handed pitcher, and it shows the movement coming into a batter, and then it shows the downward movement from the profile angle. I'm calling pitching an art form, and in my eyes it is, because not everyone is destined to win this Cy Young Award. There have been plenty of men throughout the years that have shined as pitchers, with 3 standouts in each of their stats. Sandy Koufax of the Brooklyn Dodgers, one of these outstanding pitchers. Sandy Koufax is a worthy fastball, reaching the mid 90s for his entire career. But what made Sandy Koufax such a dominant pitcher was his curveball. As stated in Baseball's Top 5 Pitchers by James Ray, Koufax once struck out Mickey Mantle in the World Series on a wicked curveball that was called strike three. Reportedly, Mickey Mantle turned around laughing at his own futility and said to the umpire, "Jesus Christ, how the hell am I supposed to hit that shit?" Ray also went on to say Koufax had the greatest run of any pitcher in modern history from 1962 to 1966. He won 25 or more games 3 times, posted a combined ERA of 1.93, and struck out an average of 289 batters this season. He was elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1972. This is a picture of how Randy Koufax would have held his curveball. Very similar to how you hold a slider, except you come directly over the top to control the stick to movement. Next is the ever-intimidating Randy Johnson at 6 foot 10 inches tall. Most people think of Johnson's fastball as being his most dominant pitch, but as mentioned in Baseball's Top 5 Pitchers by James Ray, Johnson has been celebrated for, again, having one of the most dominant pitches, fastball pitches in baseball, regularly approaching 100 miles an hour during his prime. However, his signature pitch is his hard-fighting slider. Johnson has won the Cy Young Award 5 times compared to the ever-great Roger Clemens 7. It was Johnson's ability to hurl the fastball and disguise the slider. Disguise the slider that made him one of the greatest pitchers of all time. And this is again how he would have held the slider. And being 6 foot 10 inches, you can get major torque. So he came across his body and made like sliding effect. And considered to be one of the greatest pitchers of all time with 7 Cy Young Awards under his belt is the highly disputed Roger Clemens. Some of his many achievements have been provided by Roger Clemens, written by Scott Kendrick. It says, Clemens has won the Cy Young Award 7 times, which is an award honoring the best pitcher in the league. He became the first player to strike out 20 batters a game, and he won again later. He's the only pitcher, Clemens is the second all-time strikeouts list with 4,672, second only to Nolan Ryan. And on June 13, 2003, pitching for the Yankees, Clemens won his 300th game and recorded his 4,000th strikeout. Many accomplishments pitchers only wish to achieve one point in their career. Roger Clemens is considered to be the best. Not because he could throw all 12 pitches in baseball, but because the pitches he did throw came together like a puzzle, and in turn can be considered an art form to an athlete. Pitching to me is more than just hoping the other team doesn't get the ball. It's about precision and deception and making every pitch a skilled strike. I hope you can see past the big highlight swing and now further understand why and what pitching has become today.
Couldn't we just give that responsibility to her? Oh, Diana, what did you think?
I liked his attention getter and his thesis. I like how he talked about the different types of pitches and how he talked about the history of pitching, because you don't really hear about that stuff. It was really informative. He had a lot of good information. I thought it was really good, except I think he should have slowed down a bit. But other than that, it was good.
All right. I like the visualization in your attention device and the discussion about how modern coverage puts the pitcher on the spot. I thought that was pretty good, and the goal to try and inform the audience a little bit better about what's going on there. I like that as well. I think the points you laid out are pretty clear. Although the first point really is more, baseball in an historical context, rather than focusing on the pitching element of the context. It's not really until you start talking about more contemporary ball players and the nature of pitching and how it changed primarily in the 60s that it becomes, I think, the speech that you want it to be, where it's focusing on those particular issues.